So now I'm going to explain you guys how to make a store that is compliant to the Google policies. Because something that you have to know that's really important is Google is very strict. They check your website if anything's wrong, compared to Meta where you can literally do anything on your website. If your ad is compliant, you can just send people to your website. But with Google, the website also matters a lot. So that's why I'm going to show you how does a compliant Google store looks that's built on Shopify. I'm not going to show you in detail how to build a Shopify store because honestly speaking, there's so many easy tutorials out there that it's not worth explaining for me in this very specific course. I want you guys to understand Google to the best possible, but building a Shopify store, honestly, you can do your research online and watch a YouTube tutorial. I'll probably put a YouTube tutorial down here with a few extra links that you can check out if you don't know how to build a Shopify store, but I suppose most of you already know how to build a Shopify store. Here I listed up some simple do's and don'ts. We're gonna go over the GMC checklist also together, and then an example website of how a compliant Google store looks like initially. I'm also gonna open this one. This was one of the competitors that we found. So let's start. Do's and don'ts on Google stores. Obviously, you can use, like I said, seasonal sales and time limited sales. For example, currently it's winter, so we can run a winter sale, pre-spring sale, winter clearance sale, something like that can work and is allowed. Some things that are not allowed is closure sale, clearance sale, something that's permanent, you know. Google is not stupid. They know that your store is not closing tomorrow. Keep your sales legit. People that come on your Google store already have an intention of buying, like Archer said. So you need to convince them just a little bit extra for them to place a purchase, but you don't need to convince them from zero. On Google, you can add discounts up to 50% maximum compared to Meta where you can go up to 80%. So 50% discount is the max you can do on Google. You're not allowed to do fake reviews, obviously, or Trustpilot. Stacking discounts on the product page and collection page are allowed. So what are stacking discounts? It's a way to increase your AOV. For example, buy 2 equals 10% off, buy 3 equals 15% off, buy 4 equals 20% off, buy 5 items equals 25% off. That's stacking discounts. Something that's not allowed is limited stocks with only 10 items left. For example, because what Google insiders can do is they can go on your website and check, okay, I'm gonna add 11 items to my cart, but it's still available. So the limited in stock doesn't make any sense. So I would not advise you to add that to your site. I would not advise it. Shipping protection, insured shipping is allowed to do. USPs like 30-day money back guarantee, in stock, ready to ship, and free shippings are allowed. And I will actually highly advise you to use those because those can wake up extra trust. Higher than 50 sale, you're not allowed. Timers, I would never add them to your website because that just instantly triggers Google and will suspend your account again. And you're allowed to display real reviews. For example, if you have a happy customer, you send them an email, hey, what did you find? Please leave a review on a Trustpilot. If you leave a review, you're allowed to display it on your website. That's good. So that's a simple do's and don'ts on Google stores. But now let's dive into a compliant Google store. This is an example. I want you to understand this is an example. There is many templates and formats and ways you can use to build a store that is compliant to Google. The most important thing is that the website is clear to the customers. Everything's clear to understand. The company information is clear. The contact information is clear. It's clear to the customer if shipping is paid or free, how to return an item, how long is shipping going to take, what products are you selling, and is this a legit business? That's important for Google to know. You can design all your websites this way, you can design it this way, but I will go over the important blocks that you need to have. We've also listed them up in this GMC checklist. This GMC checklist is one that Archer and I made. We've got many GMCs approved because of this GMC checklist, along with other members in the AB Inner Circle that got their GMC approved with this exact GMC fix list. Please keep it for yourself. Don't share it with anyone else because obviously you want to keep the value inside of the inner circle and not share it to the public. Here we're going to take this store. I found it online. It's important to know that a Google store, to get it initially approved, so there's a difference between getting it initially approved and running it in 5 weeks later. This is a store to get your Google Merchant Center initially approved the first time. So what's really important is that your store looks like a local store around the corner. We're currently in Brussels, so let's say a store that's selling clothes hangers, or a store that's selling sunglasses only, or a store that's selling cashmere only, something like that. Like really niche down on something. Here, the person chose to sell clothes hangers, So you will see that the whole store is branded around clothes hangers. It's really important to make Google see that, hey, we are a store that's specialized in something. So as you can see here, clothes hangers, the banner talks about wardrobes and clothes hangers, shop now button. Here already some USPs, free shipping, 30-day returns policy and secure payments. Here a little bit about us. Here we are one message away. The way how they can get in contact with you, a valid email address, it's a business email address, so info at a phone number which is from the country itself. You can get a local phone number using aircall.io or Crispcall, or there's many other platforms where you can buy phone numbers from different countries. It's important that the number is callable. So if Google decides to call the phone number, that it works. What I do is I buy a phone number and I make it redirect to my real phone number. And once the store is approved, let's say 5 weeks later, I will just put a voicemail, be like, hey, the line is currently busy. Please message info at to get in contact with our customer support. Then contact button, here the products that we're selling, clothes hangers, obviously, like I said. An FAQ, make sure that these are in line with your policies. And when you mention a link, don't put the link like that. Always use hyperlinks. It's way more clean. In the footer, what's really important? Well, obviously have a little navigation. Really important is to mention your policies in your footer. This is not needed. It was an extra. And contact information in your footer is really, really, really important. So what info is important? An email address, a valid email address, obviously, info at, highly advised. A valid phone number is not mandatory, but I would highly advise it to wake up extra trust to Google. Store name, obviously, Suez. Warehouse address, this is pretty tricky. So you have to understand, once you create a Google Merchant Center account, everything is being tracked. So the moment you create a Google Merchant Center account, Google is going to check, okay, where is the person located that is currently creating a Google Merchant Center account? For example, we are currently in Belgium. So if I would create a Google Merchant Center account in the system of Google Merchant Center, they will see that the account has been created in Belgium for a Belgium company. But how is a Belgium company related to a United Kingdom store? So the way to kind of play around with this is mentioning a warehouse address and a business address. So the warehouse address is going to be in the United Kingdom. This store is a UK store. So they're mentioning a random address in the UK. Probably if I look it up, it's going to be some random house. Yes, exactly. So that's what I meant. So just a random address in the UK is the warehouse address. You can use a random address where there is a building. Just make sure that there's no other company there. The business name is obviously your official business name where you have registered documents from. Your KVK number, aka your company number, also important to mention that. And then the business address. This business is located in the Netherlands, so they mention their Dutch company number, their Dutch company, and their Dutch company address. But the warehouse address is really important to mention. Why? It shows your relation with a Dutch company who owns a UK store. So if we talk about the example that I gave, this guy has a Netherlands company, so it's important that he creates the GMC in the Netherlands. If he's not in the Netherlands, well, he has to go on a VPN to the Netherlands to create the GMC for his Netherlands company. So it's really important that when you create a GMC, you're connected or you are in the country of your company. And obviously customer service available hours. So there we go. That's about the contact information. It's really important that you understand this really well. It's also in the GMC checklist. Then here, hyperlinks to the policies. The policies that are the most important are privacy policy, refund policy, shipping policy, terms of service, and payment policy. Payment policy is not by default in Shopify under the policy section, so you will have to create a separate page for that. Really important for you to understand is that everything is in line. For example, a mistake I see here already. They call it refund policy, but it should be called returns and refund policy. Shipment policy is fine, terms of service fine, payment policy is fine. I will put templates of the policies down this video so you can use them at your ease. Obviously, this is a template. You can copy it, but I would advise you to use your own imagination, make it look unique, make it look good. But the only things that are important are obviously the contact information, mentioning the policies, and that's the most important. It's important for Google to know that you're a legal business, registered business, and you're not trying to do some weird shit from you're in Spain, but you're opening a Dutch company GMC for a United States store. Like, just don't make a cocktail, keep it simple and straight to the point. So here the homepage, pretty good homepage, contact info, about us info. Something that's really important is the about us page. I cannot tell you how important this is. The about us page is probably the game breaker for Google Merchant Centers. What's important to mention in a about us page, obviously you can use ChatGPT for it. You explain what you're selling, what is your store about. So this store is about clothes hangers. So hey, at Suez, we care about your wardrobe and good quality clothes hangers, blah, blah, blah. Really important to mention also in your about us is a mission, and it's important to mention a vision. And then the contact information obviously is the same one as in here. Some tip I can give you, don't share this with everyone, is explaining your relation with your store. So how is your company related to the store? A good line that you can use at the start of your about us page, and I see that they haven't implemented that, is Suez is a store operated by Ecom BV, which is a company based in the Netherlands, operating Suez, which is a brand in the United Kingdom. I hope you got that. So the company in the Netherlands operates a brand in the that is selling in the UK under this name. So you have to kind of make Google see your Dutch company as a holder of a brand that is in the UK. And that's the way how to do it and how to show that we might be a Dutch company, but we own a brand in the UK that is selling in the UK. So that's really important, and that's a line you could put here, operated by. You might see it on some other stores that people are using that, and it's really good to mention that in the About Us page, but also just have a little explanation of what your business is. Sometimes to even make your About Us page a bit cleaner, you can add some image, blah, blah, blah. Make it look clean, you know? Contact page, also really important. This section that you made here, you can just copy paste it on top of your contact form. So first you're gonna have the contact information, the business information on top, and then the contact form. FAQ, like I mentioned, it's really important that this is in line with your policies and also on the FAQs that you put on your homepage. So keep that in mind. Then if we're going to go to the collection page, it's important that no collections are empty, so that's really important. If you create a collection, that there must be products in it. So here we have clothes hangers collection. Your collections in your navigation needs to be very specific. So don't put here, for example, products or all products. That's very vague and Google doesn't like that. If I want to explain it very simple, a kid who is 10 needs to be able to navigate on your store. Most of the Google people literally have a brain of a coconut. So you have to understand that if they don't understand something, or it's hard to find something, or how to contact you, or how to return, they will suspend your store, or they won't even approve it in the first place. So everything needs to be baby proof, easy to read, easy to understand, knowing how to return, what you're selling, and how your company is related to a UK store or whatever store that you're creating, United States, UK, Australia, Denmark, whatever. If you're creating a store in Denmark, obviously make sure that your store is in Danish. Makes sense. So here, the product page is really, really basic, but that's all right, you know, clean description, add to cart button, decent title. They're not making fake claims. They're just saying elegant wide hanger set with clips. Boom. They're not mentioning words like premium, exclusive. No, don't mention those words. Just keep it simple and clean. Description. Here, a little section about the shipping information. So how items being shipped, how long will it take? Is it shipping free or is it paid? Return and refund policy information, so how can we return an item within 30 days, link to the return policy, and how to get in contact with us. More than that is not needed on the product page. Obviously, I would make it a bit more interesting, the product page, so maybe you can add related products. Down here, you can add 30-day money-back guarantee, a little text, maybe a little section about us, make your product page a bit more alive, you know. Don't add too much, but make it a bit better than this. Track your order page, also really important. I see they use the app Track123. We would highly advise to use Parcel Panel. There's also a link of that in the Discord, which you can use to get 1 month for free. But yeah, that's pretty much the most important pages on the whole website. Obviously, checkout, so at the carts, is that working? Yes, going to checkout, okay. We see here that, okay, they're only selling in the UK, which is also what they mentioned in the shipping policy and the return policy, which is good. They have a logo here. The brand colors are in line. So everything looks good. The payment methods really important. So Visa, MasterCard, and Amex. Let's see what they're mentioning here. Apple Pay, Google Pay, okay, Visa card. There's offering Shop Pay, but they're not mentioning that. So, make sure to have also your payment methods aligned with your checkout, aligned with your payment policy. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Maestro, Apple Pay, and Google Pay. Okay, they did mention it correctly, so that's good. We will put templates of the policies down this video, but this is how a compliant Google website looks. Obviously, don't copy this one-on-one, but take the inspiration from it. If we're gonna look at our competitor, obviously the store is aged. What does aged mean? He already went through the whole approval process. His store probably initially looked like something like this, and then once the store was a few weeks / a month old, well, then he started making changes to the website, and you can be a bit less compliant. But as you can see, what's still clear on the website is, well, the company name. His company is called Misa London, his store is also called Misa London. Coincidence, the address is in the Netherlands. In my opinion, this store is not really compliant. This store is really compliant because they really mentioned everything like warehouse address, email address, phone number, and so on. This store is pretty vague. It doesn't look good, it's not clear. If Google checks this website, most likely we get another misrepresentation. Let's check at the other stuff. So the contact page, obviously they don't even mention the contact information on the top here, so that's not good. About us page, okay, a commitment, but they're not mentioning a vision and a mission, well, or at least it's not clear enough to me, Return and refunds policy, okay, this is alright, Let's check the product page. They're already selling this product, which is not compliant at all. They're putting fake Trustpilot reviews, which is not good. What they are doing though is free delivery, easy returns, and this is good actually. But since 2010, that's a lie, they're not. This, I would honestly not advise it to put fake storefronts because Google can know that this is not real. All they have to do is they're gonna copy this address, and if they don't see this same image there, well, that's not compliant. So honestly, this is not the best example. I would more focus on this example. This is a really compliant store. Obviously, this is how you get your GMC approved. And once it has been approved, you can make changes, add some bit more urgencies, make it more clean. Obviously, step away from the clothes hangers because you will be selling clothes. You won't be selling clothes hangers. Selling clothes hangers is just for the first few weeks to get your GMC approved. And then once you're going to start importing products, that's the moment when you're going to start adding jackets, sweaters, t-shirts, polo shirts, everything like that. So that's really important for you to know. This store is made to get GMC approved, and once we're GMC approved, we are free to do whatever the fuck we want. That's gonna make us a lot of money. So there we go. Now we're going through the GMC checklist. I wrote down here, I'm not gonna go through everything, but valid email, no broken pages. We use this page, that link checker, really good one. Page speed needs to be above 70. It's not mandatory, but I would advise it's important that your website's easy navigatable. By the way, I forgot to mention, this theme is called Down Theme. It's completely free. You can choose if you use a paid theme like Impulse, which is my all-time favorite, or you use a free theme like Down. I can understand that if you create a lot of GMCs and try to get them approved, it's not always smart to buy a theme because you're spending money without even knowing that the store will get approved. Make sure to run through this website. HTTPS is also by default in Shopify, but just make sure. SSL, email support, local phone number, highly advised, business address, business information. That's what I mentioned. Everything you need to mention also on your homepage and your policies. The website header, all products is mentioned here, but for example, be more specific. All products is very vague. If you're selling cowboy boots, mention cowboy boots. If you're selling clothes hangers, mention clothes hangers. You get what I mean. If you're wondering, first 5 products on these stores are AI generated images. That's also something I forgot to mention, but it's really important. Let's say you decide to make the store to get GMC approved around clothes hangers like me. Well, you're gonna find a clothes hanger and you're gonna generate an AI image of it, which is unique, because important for Google to know is that your store is unique and is not a dropship store copying 10,000 other stores, So that's why if you're doing clothes hangers, just generate 5 AI images and create 5 unique products that if Google tries to find this image, they won't find it. Same, for example, if your store is around wool sweaters, well, take 5 wool sweaters from a dropship store, generate a unique AI images with probably the same model, so maybe a blonde woman with blue eyes, put the sweater on her, and boom, your store looks really branded. It looks like a real official store that has done a photo shoot and blah, blah, blah. So it's really important that the first 5 products on your store are AI generated, so your store really looks real to Google. So here, contact options, business address, I mentioned all that, shipping policy, return policy. Make sure to go through this GMC checklist very carefully. This is really important. This is what's gonna get your GMC approved. So once you create your store, make sure to go over it. The legal pages, no fake reviews, business information. I put here the format to use and which we use also. So what's here, store name, company number, warehouse address, company address, email, phone number, and then customer support hours. How to appeal for a GMC, obviously you're gonna use the appeal button. If you appeal twice, then the third time you can reach out to support by using this link. We will also create some Loom videos about that, how to do that, how to approach them. So that's pretty much how to build a compliant Shopify store. Like I said, I'm not going to show you in depth how to build it block by block. It is pretty simple. There is thousands of YouTube tutorials out there that you can watch to build a Shopify store. It's more important for you to understand how to build a compliant Shopify Google store and what needs to be included before I apply for the Google Merchant Center, because it's really important that all these things are already in place before you make the Google Merchant Center account. So when you build the Google Merchant Center account, you have to make the least changes as possible, because like I said, everything that you do once the Google Merchant Center account is created is being tracked by Google, and they can use as evidence to suspend your account once again, which is really annoying. Imagine you're doing 10K days and all of a sudden Google finds something to fuck you over. Well, they will, and that's quite annoying. So be careful about that. I hope this video is clear, and let's dive into the next video.